Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching The Tangled Cat Speaks. It is September 30th, 2021. So we are into fall, and you can see that the temperatures have gone down. Today was quite rainy and drizzly here in New Mexico, so I thought I would wear my Boscular, which is a pattern by Marina Skewa. I love it so much. It makes me think, though the colors that I chose, it makes me think of, I'm gonna just keep rubbing it. It makes me think of the white tree of Gondor from Lord of the Rings. Anyway, I cut my hair, it's shaved. I had it like this, I think all of 2017. I started podcasting January of 2018. And at that point it was still shaved, but it was starting to grow out because ever since to 2018 is when I started growing it out. And you can see it got pretty long earlier this year, but slowly I've been cutting it, and finally the other day I said, I'm done, I want it short again. So here we are. As I mentioned, I'm in New Mexico. I'm in Rio Rancho, which is just north and west of Albuquerque. So I'm loving the cooler temperatures and getting to wear my socks, mostly in the evening, because during the day it's still kind of warm, but early in the morning and in the late evening, I pull out my socks and I'm so happy for it. And I get to put on my sweaters and super excited. So if you are new, welcome. If you are a regular, welcome back. Let's see. I do knitting. That sounds weird. I am a knitter and a crocheter. That's mostly what I talk about on this channel. And I sometimes talk about TV shows, movies, and but more often it's books than movies and TV. I talk about books that I have read or plan on reading. And so let's get into it. I don't have like a set format. I kind of just have a bunch of stuff spread out in front of me and just start rambling. So the first thing I want to talk about is a cowl that I finished. This was a test knit for McKaylee Marlar. She is the wonderful person behind Breaking Bad yarns. Breaking Bad. She's Louise April Davis. Breaking Yarn, which is a Breaking Bad themed yarn dyer. She came out with a pattern, and I test knit for her, that I recently test knit for her. It's a cowl using a slip stitch in the same pattern that you would use for the heels of your socks if you're doing a heel flap and gusset. And so that's what she calls it, is the slip stitch heel cowl. And this is what I came up with. Now, I did use one of her yarns, but this was one of her yarns back when she was on Etsy before the Breaking Yarn branding. This was something that she had dyed in Kool-Aid, and it looks like it was different reds and pinks, and then there's some grape in there. Oh, I have cat hair or something. So it has these different variations of pink and red and very deep purple that looks almost brown. And I love this color because it kind of looks Valentine color, but now that it's fall, it also kind of goes for that too. Very cool. But this is a fingering weight. Her cowl called for a DK, I believe. I can't remember if it was DK or worsted, but I held the fingering weight doubled. So I was pulling from the inside and the outside of the cake at the same time. And so this is how it came out, and I love it. This ended up being about 10 inches tall, and when measured flat, it's 10 inches across, so it's kind of square looking. her pattern was supposed to be 12 inches tall, but I have a very short neck and I thought this was tall enough for me. So I stopped it a little early, but I like how the colors kind of play together. And because it is a slip stitch, it's one row, is always slip stitches, and then you've got knit stitches here. So it kind of looks like a ribbing, but not quite. And I just love how slip stitches play with variegated yarns. I believe she did hers in a solid white, which was her Lily of the Valley color. So you could really see the stitch looking kind of like a ribbing in the plain color, but it really plays with how the colors fall in a variegated. And so that's what I have here, and it's super soft. And the funny thing is, I've washed this. I've had this yarn since 2018, and it was in a skein up until I used it for this. And as soon as I put it into the skein and started winding it up, I could smell the great Kool-Aid. And even this bit that hasn't been knit yet, I could still smell it. And I've washed this, and it still has a faint smell of great Kool-Aid, and I love it. That's one of the fun things I always find working with Kool-Aid as a dye for yarn is you could smell it. But I had so much fun, and that pattern is out now. And like I said, I probably would have used the whole skein if I had gone the full 12 inches tall, but I wanted it a little bit shorter. So I did have some left, and what that led me to do was I wanted socks. I wanted to see what this was going to look like in a sock. And so I started playing around. I knew I wasn't going to have enough for a full pair of socks with just what I had left. I think I had 30 grams left altogether. And so I started playing around with all of my minis and leftovers. So I found this mini. This green is, it was a Pandia's Jewels yarn on her snug base. It was a kit that I had gotten, and I believe it was a Highland kit, back when everybody was doing everything Outlander related. And it was a set of 5 20-gram fingering weight mini skeins, and this was one of the greens that was in there. They didn't have individual color names, but it's kind of like a mossy green. So I thought, okay, is that going to look Christmassy with the reds? So then I thought, well, I'm going to go funky with it. So I ended up finding these others. I'm going to have to put the names of these ones on the screen. These were also parts of mini sets from other dyers from Etsy. I want to say this was cornbread and honey. And I don't remember this one, but I could put the names up here. So I chose these two. I got the purple because obviously there's purple in there. And then I thought this green would go with this green really well. So these are the colors that I chose to do a pair of socks, scrappy kind of socks. And I got one done. So I do have half a finished object, or what is Michaeli's call it? She says a PhD. What is it? A PhD. I can't remember. Oh my gosh, she's probably screaming at her screen if she's watching this. But this is a sock that I came up with. So I started toe up because I wasn't sure how much of any of these yarns. No, I'm lying. I did it top down. Lying, totally lying. Sorry about that. So I used the green. That's the one that I had the least of. So I did a cuff. And then when I added in the other color, I didn't just straight color block it. I did some slip stitches here. And as I was kind of introducing the red color. And then I worked down to how, I kind of was just like, I really want this in the heel because I wanted to do it in the Eye of Partridge. I love, 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 love how the Eye of Partridge stitch pattern in a heel looks, and that's what it did. And so I wanted to make sure that the heel was in this yarn, so I kind of, that's why it's kind of short. It's a short leg because I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough, because I absolutely wanted this yarn in the heel, because I love how it does that. Like the stockinette looks completely different than the heel. So that was my one thing, is this color needs to end up in the heel. So I didn't want to risk it, so I made kind of a short leg. And then I introduced the other green. Let me show you again, this color here. And this one played really, really cool. It spiraled in an interesting way, or not spiraled, it slowly started to spiral. You can see it started there and ended up more towards the middle of the sock. But it pooled is the word I was looking for. It pooled. So I've got a lot of the green here, some of this, the blues, and then mostly white here. So I thought that looked really, really cool. I haven't even started the second sock yet, and I'm very curious to see how that color plays there. And I did the same kind of slip stitching here. So I slipped for 3 rows. I think it was, I knit 6 and then I slipped 2, knit 6, slip 2. And then I kind of staggered that same process down here. I put in another row of the red just to kind of like fading, but not really. But I put another row of the last row of the red in there. And then when I switched back to the green color, I did another thing, a slip stitch, but it's only 2 rows there instead of the 3 that I did here. So it kind of looks interesting. And I did the same thing at the toe, and it's more obvious what I did at the toe, where I introduced, I have cat fuzz everywhere. And then I just did a rounded toe. This is, I have from Knit Picks an ebook. It was called Sock Cocktail. I got this ages and ages and ages ago, and it's basically different ways to do a 64 stitch sock, toe up and top cuff down, and it gives you different cuffs. I think it gives you a couple of different cuffs, and it gives not cuffs, it gives you a couple of different heels and a couple of different toes, both in a toe up version and a cuff down version. So they have a rounded toe, and then, which I would think is kind of, I've never done, I've heard of people using an umbrella toe. I've never used that, but I think it's the same kind of idea. And then it's where, you kind of, if you're doing it from the top, from the cuff down, you kind of decrease until you get a certain amount of stitches, and then you just run the tail through those stitches and cinch it in. So it's similar to that. So that's the rounded toe in that pattern. They have a spiral toe, which is very similar to that, but you are here you're staggering your decreases so that you don't have a definite decrease lines around the top. The swirl toe is similar, but it allows for the decreases to sort of stack and create a spiral shape on the top of the toe, kind of like you would see on the top of a beanie. And then it also shows you the regular wedge toe where you Kitchener. So that's what I did with this. And like I said, I'm really curious to see what it looks like, the same yarn, but because these two are variegated, I want to see how it plays out. They're not going to be identical, obviously. And I love that. I love to see how yarns play with each other like that. So I'm going to have 2 fraternal twin socks. And I'm very excited about that, but I haven't gotten around to that just yet. But that was, I really, really, really wanted to use that yarn that McKaylee had done back in the day before breaking yarn to see, because it's just so pretty. And I'm so glad that I waited. Like I said, I had it since 2018, and I could never figure out what I wanted to make with it. And then lo and behold, she comes out with a cowl pattern that I thought would be perfect for it. And it's just so fun. So this is basically marled and slip stitch. And I love how it came out. I just love it so, so much. And it's so soft and cozy and squishy because of the slip stitches. Very, very excited about it. So yay, I'm glad it's getting cooler because I can wear it now. So those are the only finished objects that I got done this month because I've been working on some bigger projects. Still working on the, geez Louise. It's right there. It's the temperature shawl that I've been working on, the anniversary temperature shawl. Still working along on that one. I'm completely caught up. And I've got the Hercule Poirot shawl I'm working on, and the breaking yarn maybe top and maybe shawl thing. I'm still working on that, but it's getting down to almost Christmas, and I have been planning to make sweaters for adult children. And I was supposed to start those back in June, and here it is the end of September, and I'm only getting to the first one. So what I started doing, because I'm the kind of person that I have a ton of whips, like whips that I'm not actively working on, I would say I've got at least 20. Whips that I'm actively working on, I've got about 5, 6 maybe. And how I manage those so that I don't get overwhelmed, especially because some of these are test knits. I use my calendar on the phone and I set up alerts. So say Monday is the day that I do my anniversary temperature shawl. So I'll do a week's worth of rows once a week. Every Monday, that's my temperature shawl day. And you know, it's not a whole lot of knitting, so if I get done, then I'll work on other things as well, but that's my main focus for that day. And I have that same premise for the other 4 projects that I have actively going on. Each day will come up. Some of them have, some projects are bigger than others or have a deadline. So I put those multiple times throughout the week, that kind of thing. That's how I keep myself organized, because I'm so scatterbrained and I want to start everything all the time. So when I have test knits and I have deadlines like gift knitting, I use my calendar, and every day I'm like, okay, what am I going to knit on today? And it kind of keeps everything moving and rotating throughout. So hopefully I'll get through some of those older whips soon. Hopefully sometime within 2022, I hope to get all my whips caught up. But you know, that could be a pipe dream because I've had some of those whips for 10 years. So let's talk about some of these whips that I'm working on. The first one, I'm only going to show you a little bit because this is a test knit and this one is not. Some of the test knits that I've worked on, they allow us to share information. This one, or not information, but like pictures. This one doesn't, it's teasable is what she said, but it's not really postable. So I can show you a little bit of it. And really, I'm going to show you the colors that I'm using, which are, if you've been here with me, I bet you can guess. You might be able to guess because I use pretty much the same 2 or 3 yarn dyers all the time. If you said Pendia's Jewels, no. If you said Toad Hollow, yes. So my cakes are a mess because I keep throwing these in and out of bags throughout the week. So this is Toad Hollow DK. And this is the Beechnut Fairy, which is a beautiful, I would say this is a cool brown. This to me is kind of a neutral brown. And this one that I'll talk about later is more of a warm, almost a greeny brown. It looks green in the picture, in the camera, but it's definitely brown. But this is more on the cool side of brown, and it's called Beechnut Fairy. And then this here is called Eleutheromania. And it's just a pale mint green with a bunch of speckles, and each skein is a little bit different. So we'll see how this turns out. This is a pullover sweater that I'm test knitting. The sleeves, I did not alternate skeins, and the yoke, I did not alternate skeins. Now that I'm getting into the body, because I do my sleeves first, but now that I'm getting into the body, I'm going to start helical knitting so that I don't have too much of stark difference between skein changes. I'm loving it, loving it. This is the second sleeve. And I love the speckles. I love, 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 love the speckles. I feel like this could work for, like, it's not just fall. It could go through fall all the way, starting in fall through winter. Let's see, this is the other sleeve, and they're a little bit different. You can see this one has a little more purple to it, and I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. They're going to be kind of far apart. Hopefully it won't be too noticeable, but it's okay because I think it's so fun and it's just beautiful colors. I'm having a really good time with it. I don't want to show you the yoke. It is a not a mosaic, slip stitch design in the yoke. It's a round yoke with slip stitch. I did the sleeves first before the body because I always want to make my tops a little bit longer than what's called for. And I'm not always sure that I'm going to have enough yarn because I don't shop. I don't pick a pattern and then buy the yarn. It's usually I have the yarn and then I pick a pattern and then I'm like trying to fudge things. So I do the sleeves first so that I can see how I can mess with the body to accommodate the yarn. And I was going to say something else about this too. Oh yeah, and then on this pattern, she did shaping for the back of the neck, but she also has shaping for the bottom hem for the back so that it'll be a little bit lower in the back. But I mentioned it before when I did the test knit for Marina Skua on the Diopterus tank that I did, how my tops tend to ride up a little bit in front because I'm big busted and I have a big belly. So what I'm going to do with this is use her, the short rows that she's using at the bottom of the back. I'm going to put those in the front side and see if what that looks like. So I'm excited. I want to see what that looks like when I get there. But right now I'm just about to do the cuff on the second sleeve, and then I'm going to start the body. And this is by Helen Kennedy. That's who's the designer for this pattern that I'm test knitting. And I think right now the working title is Always Be Brave. So keep an eye out for it whenever it's ready. I can't wait to show you all pictures because I'm loving, loving, loving how these two colorways are playing together. Love it, love it. So that is my first active whip. And then I mentioned the starting Christmas stuff, and I showed you this yarn. Now, this is going to be a cardigan for my daughter. She's aware of it, so it's not like I have to hide it or worry about her watching this. She's aware that I'm making this. Oh my God, hold on. A whole bunch of stitches just slipped right off the needle because I'm not in the middle of a row. I'm kind of at the beginning of a row, but hold on. I don't know why I just don't finish the row. It's like literally 18 stitches. Anyways, hold on. Talks amongst yourselves. I'm going to slip all of these over to one needle so it'll be a little bit easier to see. Actually, I could probably talk to you while I'm doing this. It is a cardigan that calls for worsted weight, and the yarn that I'm using is a sport weight, so I chose to hold it. I chose to hold it double, and that kind of made it more of a bulky weight, maybe an Aran to a bulky, and I had to go up a couple of needle sizes. I still made gauge though, which was weird to me. I made the gauge according to the pattern, so it was a little bit odd to me because I went up. My yarn is thicker than what they called for, and my needles are bigger, but I still somehow made gauge. So I don't know, I hope it didn't mess up somewhere, and now I'm gonna have this crazy sized cardigan. But I got this yarn ages and ages and ages ago, and I'm actually doing it in acrylic just because I really want to make my kids something, but all of their sweaters are going to be acrylic, and I don't know that they're going to want to be laying things flat, hand washing and laying them flat to dry. So I am doing theirs all in acrylic. This particular one is the Knit Picks Brava Sport in the Caramel Heather colorway. Like I said, I'm holding this double, and I may not have enough, and I may have to do some fudging at the bottom because I can't get this color anymore. It's not on their website, and I don't see anybody on Ravelry that has it for sale. So I have a couple of ideas. I'm gonna have to buy another color, and I'm thinking of stopping the patterning that's on this and holding one of these with maybe a black or a very, very dark chocolatey brown, and just do some marling at the bottom half of the body and maybe the bottom half of the sleeves. And then maybe using the black just at the cuffs and the bottom hem. That's kind of my current favorite idea of how to handle this not having quite enough yarn situation. But this is where I've got so far. I'm almost to the point of separating for the sleeves and the body. So it's got, I have a picture here. This is in this book here, and it is kind of to the front of the book, sort of. There it is, the Market Jacket. It says by Tanis Gray. Now this is the pattern. I think I'm going to make the sleeves full length. But like I say, if I run out of the brown that I'm using, I might just stop the patterning somewhere in this area and then just do stockinette down, but marled. And then the button band, the collar, the cuff, and the hem would be in the solid other color that I'm going to use, probably black. But it's really pretty. It's got that, I don't know why I closed it. It's got the, on either side of the front, it's got the cables and lace. It alternates cables and lace. It's also got it, I don't want to show anything. Can't see what I'm doing. It's got it along the sleeve. And then it's also got it down the center of the back. Ugh, why is it so hard? So I know that it's acrylic and you're probably cringing and throwing stuff at your TV right now. How is she doing cables and lace in acrylic? What is it going to do? I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping that because it's not super drapey, that this is going to look, it's not going to look super crisp, but it's still going to look really cool going down the jacket, or the sweater. So I got all my stitch markers everywhere to show me what repeat I'm on, but I'm liking it. It's a little bit of a firmer fabric than what they have. Theirs looks very looks a lot airier, a lot drapier, and that's just like I say, because I doubled my yarn. I didn't have a worsted weight that I wanted to use. But I'm liking it so far. It's going to be a little bit warmer and heavier than what they have, but I think it's still going to look pretty. I told you that I started that sock, and I didn't start the second one yet. I'm going to start this one for a while because, like I say, I keep wanting to start things. And I was looking at, what was I don't remember what it was that started me on this idea. I don't remember. But I knew that I wanted to make some socks that had it was going to be striped. I was going to have one main color striped with a bunch of other colors. And then the one color, I was probably thinking of the Eye of Partridge heel because I love it so much. And I felt like making another pair of socks with it. So these ones are toe up, and I chose a whole bunch of minis. This is the main color that I'm using, and this was a discounted yarn that I got back. It was from Maker's Haven. It was supposed to be all of this beige color, but somehow some of these different random specks of yellow accidentally landed on the skein as she was dyeing other things, I guess. So she sold this at a discount. There you can see some of the yellow. I had a 50-gram skein of this. And so I split that in half. So this was 25, and then I've got everything separated into 2 baggies. And I went through a lot of my leftovers, and I found a whole bunch of little ones. They're very, very small. This one is extra, extra small because I've already started. Look at how tiny. This is the absolute leftover of one of the socks. So this is what I've started doing. There's my main color. I started at the top, and I was talking about that sock cocktail booklet from Knit Picks and the different toes. And so this is the spiral toe. Kind of got a little point to it, which I don't particularly like, but you don't really notice it when it's on your foot. But it's kind of hard to see, but it's got the definite lines for decreasing that kind of come down. But I've got my main color, and then I striped it with this color, and there was total, I had 3 grams of this. I think this was a Knit Picks yarn, but I don't remember the colorway. I don't even remember using this color in anything, honestly. But I only had 3 grams of this, so I split it in half. So about 1.5 grams ended up in the sock. You can see those yellow speckles coming through. And then the next one that I used, I don't know this one either. At all. I don't even know the dyer. I don't recall this. This might be an over dye of something else because I have a habit of doing that. But this is the second color. So it must have been striped. It's striped with this brown, or this like purpley color, and then this more bronzy color. And this is the little tiny ball. And this is the ball already split in half. So this is for the one sock, and then I've got another ball this size for the second sock. And it's very pretty. And then the next color that I'm planning to use is this color here, which is a very pale peach with some like raspberry color and a little bit of orangey, bronzy colors put in there. And then I'm going to go, the next color is going to be another dark, and it's going to be this very much bronze color. This one was also Maker's Haven. This was part of a sock set. It was No, it was a full, there was 2 50-gram skeins. One was, I remember one was a navy blue and the other one was this, I think. But this one, this was one of the other ones from the Pandia's Jewels, from that Highland mini skein set. And both of them, let me pull up this other green from the other sock. Both of them, the Highland mini skein set, I had made a shawl with that mini skein set, and then I ended up not really wearing that shawl because I didn't like the shape. It was an asymmetrical triangle. I just didn't particularly care for how it draped. So these look very wavy because they are yarns that I pulled back. I frogged the whole thing and I'm reusing the yarn, repurposing it. So this bronze, it doesn't have a name, but I remember it was from the Pandia's Jewels, one of the mini skein sets. This is also a Pandia's Jewels that came from one of her, oh gosh, she did a Day of the Dead mini skein set. And I think this, I don't remember if this one had a name or not, but it's just like a tonal brown. Very much a neutral brown. Like you can see, that one's very warm. This one is much more neutral. And then this last one was a Stroll Bear yarn by Knit Picks. And I dyed this with tea, black tea. You can see that's what the orangey color is. And then the pinks and the burgundies, or not burgundies, like a corally color. That was sports drink mix. Like the powders that you put in the water bottles. That's what I used to dye this. I made a shawl a while back with this yarn, and that I dyed myself, and this is what I had left. So they all are kind of in the same browny, orangey kind of color family. I don't know how to hold. Sorry, that was weird. I got a phone call. I don't know if it paused my recording or not, but I'm having a hard time kind of holding all of these together. But those are all of the minis, and then this is the solid. So what I'm doing is just finishing an entire color and then going on to the next color. So but the background stripe is always going to be continuous with this color. Like I said, I'm going to get the heels also in this color so I can do the Eye of Partridge stitch. I love, love, love that stitch so much. I just love how it looks. It's just so pretty. And I'm working them tandem on my ChowGoo 9-inch circulars on a US 1.5, which I think is it a, oh goodness, no, I don't remember. Is it a 1.25 millimeter? I don't remember, but I'll put that up here. But these are my ChowGoo 9-inch, and I'm working them tandem. So I've got them both going. And I'm super excited. And I'm working them toe up so that I can use as much of this as possible. I don't know how long it's going to end up being. Just kind of playing it by ear. I just knew that I wanted to do that kind of stripy sort of color block thing, but also in stripes, if that makes kind of sense. So I've got those, and that's really all that I'm actively working on at this moment. I've got, like as I said, the other shawl, couple of shawls going, and that top. But because I'm trying to work on a few deadline things, those are going to be pushed to the side probably until the end of the year, or at least until December when I hopefully have all of these gift knits done. So these are going to be what I'm doing. I'm just trying to rotate through and get them done, trying to buckle down, but it's so hard. I just want to do all the things all the time. So I've been mentioning Pandia's Jewels, and I love her, and I know I wasn't going to buy a lot, and I don't think I've bought too much yarn this year, but I definitely splurged at this point because Miss Julia from Pandy's Jewels has decided to close her yarn store. And so I've just been trying to, like I said, I'm retired. I've mentioned it before, I'm retired. And my retirement comes in a monthly paycheck, 1 monthly paycheck. So I gotta wait every month and to splurge, get all my bills paid, and then splurge, and then I've got nothing for the rest of the month. But what I've been doing is going back to her website to see if she still has anything. So these I got for Christmas. I'm showing that to you upside down. This her cozy worsted in the peppermint colorway. Super, super pretty. I want to make socks just with no contrast, heels, toes, or cuffs, just all one color socks. Probably will be doing the Eye of Partridge heel. So that's this one. Her cozy is 218 yards per 100 grams, 100% superwash. There's no nylon in this. So we'll see how that works out. I don't think I've ever made socks with yarn that doesn't have nylon, but I think it'll be fine. Super pretty. And then my favorite of her colorways ever, and I've got a lot, is her, sorry, these are still in bags because I bought this in sweater quantity. It's in her DK base, and it is Fossil. This is the colorway. And that's 245 yards per 100 grams. This does have a little bit of nylon in it. This is my favorite of her colorways. And it looks, and I've actually never seen it on anything other than fingering before. It just fell off. But I love it. It's cream with these pretty gold colors. It's got pinks and black speckles. This one looks like it's got a little bit of sort of a midnight blue in there. And I am liking this test knit that I showed you with the green and brown. I'm liking it so much that as soon as I'm done with the test knit, I'm going to make another one in this. This will be the body color. And then I also got some of another DK in her elderberry. So this is going to be this the other sweater. I love it so much. I love it. I think this is more true to the color that I've seen when I've seen it on fingering. I've used this color in a couple of patterns. I love this color, the Fossil colorway, one of my favorites. So I made sure to get some of that before it was gone forever. I'm very, very bummed that she's decided to no longer dye yarn. I wish her all the best, and I hope that whatever she chooses to do in the future works out for her. But I'm sad. I'm sad for me. I'm happy for her that she's making choices that fit her life. But I'm sad for me because I have been obsessed with her stuff since the day I found her. I actually found her, I want to say she was on Etsy at the time. And I was making, I wanted to make beanies for my sons. One son likes blue and the other one likes the green. And she had this really pretty yarn with some really bright acidy green with a little bit of gray and a little bit of black. And I thought, oh, that's good for the one son. She didn't have anything similar with any blue. So I had messaged her and asked her. I found a color, one of her yarns that she already dyed and that had the blue that I wanted, just everything else around it I didn't want. And I told her, can you make this blue with the gray and the black the way that the other one is with the green, the gray, and the black? And she was so sweet. She custom dyed that for me, and that's how I found her. And I've been obsessed with her ever since. I can't remember if it was, I'm pretty sure it was Etsy. I want to say it was Etsy. But she was so sweet. She custom dyed it for me. And one of my older son has a shawl that I ended up making. I think I made them both the beanies, and then I had yarn left over. So I used those 2 yarns plus a gray that I had, and I made it kind of like a shawlette, scarflet kind of thing, and I loved it so much. And then my son was like, I want that, and I was like, okay. So he has it. He's so funny. He just went to I don't know what you call it, like a festival in Ohio, something to do with, I know it's like a, I don't know what the music is called these days, but it's like with all the lasers and the lights and the smoke and everybody jumping around, and it's like EDM. Is it EDM style music? I don't know. But it had something to do with dinosaurs. There was just these big animatronic dinosaurs everywhere, and he told me that he packed that particular shawl to take with him in case it was cold over there. I don't think that he ended up actually wearing it, but he took it, and I was like, oh. He actually wears the stuff I make him, so very nice. So that is all my yarn talk today. I didn't have a whole lot. Like I said, I've been working on some big projects, so they're going to take me a little bit. But I'm definitely going to have these 2 sweaters done by the end of the month, because I really need to get cracking on 3 other sweaters. Three other sweaters. 2 are for each of my sons, and then I've got one of my sons, his fiance. I'm making one for her too, but she's super, super tiny, so her should go really quick. Crossing fingers. So since I'm done talking about all of the yarn things, my daughter and I, we'll talk a little bit about TV. My daughter and I have been going on, I don't know why. We used to watch it ages and ages ago, but we've now gotten into watching all of the old episodes on Amazon Prime of The Amazing Race. I think we're on like season 9 right now. She works nights, so we don't spend a whole lot of time together during the days that she works. But on her days off, we'll sit and watch several episodes of The Amazing Race, and we just sit there and laugh our butts off. We have such a good time with it. So that's kind of one of the things that I've been into. I started watching, gosh, Hulu has come out with quite a few things that I've really been into. I love Reservation Dogs. Love. Willie Jack is my favorite character. Love her to death. I just watched and finished 9 Perfect Strangers that had Nicole Kidman. It was good. It was weird. It wasn't my favorite thing, but it was good. And then I've been watching this new Fantasy Island on Hulu, and honestly, I don't think I really like it. It's just kind of, I put it on and I watch it sort of halfway. So I don't know. It's very cheesy to me. And I know that the original Fantasy Island was cheesy, but I don't know. I was hoping it wouldn't be as cheesy, but I don't know. It's okay. I like it. I'm not hating on it, but it's not my favorite thing. And let's see, there's something else. I started watching Only Murders in the Building, which is Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. And that one's cute. I do love, I love me a murder mystery. It's cute. It's a little, I'm still trying to figure out if I like it or not. I'm enjoying it's like the other one I just talked about. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not loving it, if that makes any sense. Let's see, what else? Oh, my daughter and I, she was dying to go see the new Candyman movie. because we both really liked the original back in the day, and that's one of her favorite movies, scary movies of all time. It's one of her favorites. And so she was really super, super stoked to go see the new Candyman. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. The first Candyman, the original one, I don't remember the actor's name, the villain dude, Candyman. I don't remember his name, but man, he was iconic. He's so iconic. And then he had that voice, that very deep, you feel it in your bones kind of voice. And then on top of the scary, oh my goodness. Such a good movie. Loved it. This one just felt forced, and they changed the backstory of the whole thing. And we did not enjoy it. And my daughter was like, we were about a little more than halfway through it, and she was like, we gotta go. This is the first time I have ever wanted to walk out of a movie. So we walked out of the movie. Didn't enjoy it. I'm sure that there are people who did enjoy it, but my daughter and I were disappointed with that one. And that's fine. Whatever. I'm looking forward to Dune. I'm listening to the audiobook now. I'd never actually read it. I've heard a lot of good things about it all my life, but I never found myself reading it. And now that the movie's about to come out, I had to like rush. So I'm not reading it. I'm listening to it on audiobook, and I'm really, really, really enjoying it. I'm having a really good time with Dune. September, I had mentioned, was I did Sci-fi September. So all the books in this past month were all sci-fi related. I did a series of 4 books by Morgan Rice. It was Arrival, Ascent, Transmission, Arrival, Ascent, and Return. I can't remember the name of the series, but I did all of those on audio, and it's basically aliens make contact with us Earthlings. And it was good. It was kind of meh. Mostly, I say that because I wasn't expecting it to be young adult. I thought it was more adult, but all of the main cast of characters were around 13 years old. And that doesn't inherently make it a bad story. It's just not what I was expecting. But I finished all 4 books and I enjoyed it. Just wasn't my favorite thing. And then I listened to 2 audiobooks by Ian Douglas, and it was the Andromedan Dark series. And this was space, like we're already into the far future, several hundred years into the far future, and we're basically traveling and living mostly in space, but Earth still kind of exists. And then somehow they end up coming in contact with this other alien to us species, but they're well more advanced, and ends up being this kind of almost intergalactic kind of war thing. And it was good. I really enjoyed that one. But it was only 2 books. I kind of wish there was 1 more book, but I liked it. Let's see. Then I read, Finland Saga. I have been talking about that for the past couple of episodes. There were 11 books all about this thickness. And I finished all of those, and man, I loved them. They were so, so good. I never thought that comics, graphic novels, or manga would be something that I'd be into, but I had such a blast. And I found out that a 12th book is coming out at the end of October or mid-November. And I already checked. My library has ordered a copy of it, so as soon as it comes in, I'm first on the list. So I'm super, super excited about that. But now we are into, and Dune. I started Dune, which is part of my Sci-Fi September. But now that we're coming into October, and I think I'd mentioned this last time, I'm going to be doing spooky season. So all of the books that I'm going to be reading or listening to are going to be scary. So I got a couple of books to show you. The first one is a manga, and this one is by Shigeo Nakayama, and this one is called Tokyo Undead. And I got to show you the inside cover page, just because the library tends to cover everything. But doesn't that look awesome? I'm so excited. Apparently these were short chapters and they were all put into one big book. So this is the only one. It's not like the other one that was 11 of these size. So this one I should get done rather quickly. I'll probably start it, maybe I'll start it at midnight, because that'll be like literally October 1st, that this will kick off my spooky season. Maybe. And then I got this book. I've never read Dan Simmons, but I decided to get this one. And this has something to do with people getting lost in some kind of ice caves. I think it's one of those that is like historical fiction. So there's an actual historical event that happened, but they're putting on this horror fiction spin on it. So that's kind of cool. It has something to do with an expedition into the Arctic Circle where people get lost, and apparently it's pretty spooky. So I've heard that Dan Simmons is pretty scary, so I'm excited about that. And I didn't realize when I ordered this book from the library to put it on my hold, and then I went and picked it up. This is huge. This is a 700 plus page book. 765 pages. Holy Hannah. And then this one I ordered a while back, used, and I was so happy that I found it because it's Stephen King. This is the back of it. Super cool. This is the illustrated edition of Salem's Lot. And I got it because my first delve into Stephen King was back when I must have been about 10-ish. And I had gotten a book by Stephen King. It was a bunch of short stories called Graveyard Shift. And I remember that book just in and of itself creeped me out from the cover, because it had a hand that was bandaged up all haphazardly, but there was eyeballs all over the fingers. Very creepy. But it was something like 15 or 20 short stories in there. And one of them was called Jerusalem's Lot. And that one still wigs me out to this day just thinking about it. I don't think I've even read it since I was about 10 years old. That one still kind of haunts me. It just creeped me out, but I loved it. And I was like, for the next 15 years, all I read was Stephen King. And come to find out, I did at some point end up reading Salem's Lot, and come to find out they're related. And there's another story within the Graveyard Shift called One for the Road, which is also related to the same town that Salem's Lot is set in. And you know, Stephen King, he's all about interconnecting stories, and he may not have started out intending to do that, but somehow that kind of happened, and now it's a thing. But this edition, it's illustrated with some pretty cool art throughout it. And what's also cool about it is it has Jerusalem's Lot, the short story, which is a prequel to Salem's Lot. Look, this is one of the illustrations inside. Oh, so cool. So it's got Jerusalem's Lot, then it's got Salem's Lot, and then it's got One for the Road as the sequel, because I think that it is set after this one. So all three are in here, and I think there might even be some other short scary stories at the end as, you know, just a little bonus. But that's why I got it, because it had all three that were in the same town and related to the same kind of theme. Vampires. Did you ever, if you're younger, you probably haven't, but I remember as a kid watching the TV miniseries of this movie. Oh my God. It was so good. It was so, so good. Even to this day, I think I could watch it and still be like, oh. Now, speaking of, the other day, I would say maybe a week ago, no, 2 weeks ago, I watched the old black and white silent film Nosferatu for the very first time. Man, I don't know what took me so long to watch that. It was so good and it was so creepy. I know that a lot of people can't watch movies from back then, especially silent movies, and find them terrifying, but you know, I'm the kind of person, I'm able to put myself into the situation and just take away the fact that there's no sound other than a little bit of music. There's no speaking dialogue. There's no color. Everything is, I mean, you could tell the special effects and everything, but it was so, so, so good. And in my mind, I just kept trying to tell myself, what would it have been like to not have known, to have that kind of thing be new to you? Man, I bet that was terrifying, because it's still pretty creepy to this day, and I really enjoyed it. But anyway, back to my books. Those are the 3 that I have here. I have a whole bunch of audiobooks that I'm planning on listening to. The House on Haunted Hill by Shirley Jackson. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. I Am Legend. I can't remember the name. Matheson? Richard Matheson? I'm not sure. I might not have that name right. So I Am Legend. And something else. I can't remember. But I've got a whole bunch of things, mostly audio, because I go through audios really quick. So I've got a whole bunch of audiobooks lined up that are spooky. And then I've got these big ones here. Ooh, I'm excited. So I'm ready to kick off spooky season. And now that I've put it into my own head, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be my starting at midnight tonight. I'm going to kick off spooky season with that one. So that's about all I have now. That's been my September and a little bit of October plans. I hope that you have had a good September. I hope that you're enjoying the slow transition of seasons and temperatures. And if you're in the northern hemisphere like I am, that you're, you know, super excited for sweater weather, knitting weather, because I know I am. I'm super, super excited about it. I hope that you have been able to spend some time with your loved ones and to just be able to take a break and spend some time with yourself. So I am going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. Again, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.